Welcome to the Lowenstein Sandler podcast series, the Women's Initiative Network, Real Talk. I'm Rachel Dickovics, Counsel in Lowenstein's White Collar Defense Practice Group and a member of the Women's Initiative Network at Lowenstein Sandler. Before we begin, please take a moment to subscribe to our podcast series at lowenstein.com/podcast or find us on iTunes, Spotify, Pandora, or SoundCloud. Now let's take a listen.
Welcome to Coffee Chats with Win, a Women's Initiative Network series where we sit down with inspiring women to talk candidly about the choices, challenges, and moments that have shaped their careers.
We're your hosts. I'm Jessica Stewart, and that's Lauren Russell. We're associates here at Lowenstein Sandler. In each episode, we'll share practical insights on risk-taking, building strong teams, and navigating the early years of practice, along with a few personal stories that remind us we're all human. Pour yourself a cup and settle in as we learn how today's guest got here, what she's learned along the way, and most importantly, how she takes her coffee. Hi, Natalie. Thanks for joining us today. Can you briefly introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Natalie Dallavalle. I am currently commercial counsel at Public Service Electric and Gas Company. Most people know that as PSEG or PSE&G. And I've been in-house counsel there since 2019.
To start off, can you give us an overview of your career?
Sure. I'll try not to be too lengthy because it started way back when during the financial crisis of 2008, 2009, when, we had that mortgage crisis and really a lot of law firms were cutting back just their jobs, their summer associate program. So a lot of us in law school at the time, I went to Seton Hall Law, were struggling of what to do. What do I do? How am I graduating during this financial crisis? There's not many jobs to pull from. People were losing jobs. And it was very nerve-wracking. So I actually began my career clerking. I saw that as a new pathway, something different to try versus the traditional law firm route, at the suggestion of my friends, of the career counselors at Seton Hall. And I thought it was the perfect way to start your career. I know a lot of litigators in general will clerk, or your law firm might have you clerk right at some point in your career. But I started out clerking in the Chancery Court in Monmouth County, New Jersey. And it was just a great way for me to get my bearings, get my feet wet, try being an adult lawyer in this big world. And it gave me that extra year to kind of regroup and breathe as well, which was really awesome. And through my clerkship was actually how I found my first job, my first law firm job at a mid-sized law firm. It was just through meeting attorneys who appear before my judge regularly. He would have these pretty large commercial cases where it would be the same attorneys appearing over and over again on some complex matters or for their trials. And I ended up, speaking to these people a lot. As the clerk, I was the one who they interfaced with. And I guess that was my first foray into building your network, sort of, which I'm sure you get drilled on to do, to build your network and the importance of networking. And I really think that was key because I had applied to, I had a spreadsheet and I could probably pull up this Excel spreadsheet. I could probably find it on a thumb drive, which will date me as well. But I applied to 200 firms, right? Cold, anywhere across New Jersey, New York, literally whether they were hiring or not, I sent a application in because the market was so bad and nothing hit, right? Out of all of that. And it was truly the connection I made through clerking that this attorney was oh, we have this position opening up. You should apply for it. And that's truly, what got my foot in the door there. I realized cold applying wasn't the way to go for all of those jobs, but it was pretty difficult time and I was desperate. I was I will try anything. And I feel I sent people my spreadsheet too to be apply here. Here's my spreadsheet. How do you keep track of everything? And I was at that mid-sized firm, which was great because I was given the opportunity to, I guess I'll say cut my teeth, right? That expression. They gave me a lot of leeway as a young attorney to go to court, to go to settlement meetings, to argue my own motions, to take depositions, to have a lot of client interface. They put a lot of like trust in their associates and gave them the chance to really like get out there in the real world. So obviously, my direction was litigating in particular commercial litigation is how I started my career, which as I get to the end of it changes. But I started as a commercial litigator from clerking to litigating at this law firm. And I was, again, like lucky enough to get smaller clients at the time, like, just like friends, referrals of, do you know a lawyer? And then they come to me. And then I ended up like having a very, very small, very modest, like couple of clients at that time. But I think that's what helped me land my Lowenstein Sandler job, because I got a cold call from a recruiter one day, I guess maybe like a year and a half into that job, and answered the call because when I was at law school, I think like very typical to many law students, like my ambition was like big law, like, right, I want to go to big law. That's my ideal thing. I want to be a partner in big law. That was my ultimate career aspiration. Like I think many young lawyers, when you go into law school, like that's sort of like what you aspire to do. And I was definitely set on that track. So when I got this cold call from a recruiter, I was already thinking about like, how do I kind of like pivot? How do I kind of keep that career aspiration and get to where I wanted to be? I did have friends that worked at Lowenstein Sandler as well. They were already there as attorneys. So this would be like coming in as a lateral, and I try like throw my hat in the ring, try this out, so to see if it can work out. And I guess I was close to this third year, second year at that time, coming into Lowenstein Sandler. So it was just like random chance of a cold call, even though I had been slowly like exploring lateral positions myself, that helped me get an interview at Lowenstein Sandler and join the Lowenstein family. Was how I sort of came in to the law firm and like made it. I'm using air quotes, which I know people won't be able to see, but I made it into like big law. It took a little bit of a roundabout way, like a longer time to get there, but was able to achieve that goal for myself. And then once there, I think like what helped ultimately get the job, because there was a lot of people interviewing, was kind of that like real world experience that I had. Like I was ready to take deps coming in. I was able to like write my own motions with not a lot of supervision, and sort of that potential, which I think helped. And also I thought was very helpful was obviously having people who knew me at the law firm too, kind of going back to like networking, of having people who knew you and could vouch for your character. I think that helped greatly, and that there was that connection, even though it came in through a recruiter, that I had that connection as well. And I ended up spending like the bulk of my career truly at Lowenstein Sandler, doing commercial litigation under Gavin Rooney and others at the firm, which was a very broad range of work that I was able to do there, and really sophisticated work in the litigation department. And I won't wax poetic too long of my time there, but it was, I think, a very pivotal time for me, for my career, and a really important growth period. I think that's where I came into my own as an attorney at Lowenstein Sandler. Like you figure out like, what type of lawyer do I want to be? Like, who do I want to mimic? How do I want to take my career? Who do I want to be modeling yourself after or training under? And I think that was like a very pivotal point of my career in shaping like my future. So I was at the firm until 2019. So I was there for a long time, coming up to like being counsel there right before I left, and coming up for partnership. And I think this is another key turn in like your career of like, okay, here you are, like, here it is. The door is in front of you. Do you want to be a partner? Like you've worked your whole career for this. Like, is this what you want to do? And now I was at a point in my life where I was married. I had my first child, and time is very important as well, like work-life balance, having a little baby. And I think the firm does a great job with parental leave in general. So I was very, very fortunate, but I started to like reassess like what it was that I wanted. And do I really want to be a partner? Do I want to try something new? I really loved the client interface part of it. I liked the problem solving. I liked being able to help clients and learn their business. And that was very interesting, very appealing to me, being able to, I think, spend time with just one client. Because in litigation, you're jumping in, you're solving the problem. And yes, a litigation can go years and years. But then when it's over, it's over. You're done. That's it. It's bye. You never see that client anymore. And maybe you've spent a lot of time with them, especially if you're on trial, a lot of time with them. And I wanted to be able to strategize and integrate into a corporation, which obviously completely changes the career path of becoming a partner. So my first year up for being a partner, I didn't get it. And then the next time I was up seemed more promising. And at that point, I was already strategizing with my mentors and others of, transitioning in-house and applying in-house to different jobs and trying that out. And I know now I'm talking for a long time, but I think it's if you want to become partner or not, is a really critical choice in what you want to do. And I was realizing over that year and a half period, I don't want this anymore. And that's okay. And that was a very hard decision, but just understanding it's okay. It's okay that you changed your mind. It's okay. You want to try something new. It's okay to confide in people. So I then, ended up applying for and getting the job at PSEG, starting there as litigation counsel. So I actually litigated for PSEG for 5 more years. So I litigated complex commercial matters for them, environmental matters, property matters, still going to court, but also overseeing outside counsel on large matters as well, and really learning the business, which I think took me a very long time. So for those listeners who don't know, PSEG is the largest energy company in New Jersey. We're an electric and gas regulated utility in the state. We also own nuclear plants down in Salem. So we keep your lights on. A little plug for PSEG. This is how you're listening to the podcast if you're a PSEG customer. But so we are an energy company for those listening who don't know who PSEG is. So I did litigation for them. And again, I really love the business side of it. And after, I guess at this point, 16 years litigating, I was ready to try something new again. And the pretty cool thing when you go in-house and at PSEG is they allow you to pivot. I'll use that phrase again. They allow you to rotate, try different things, go to different departments. People get promoted into different departments. And a person was retiring in the commercial department. And I was I want to try this. I would love to try, contract work. I've obviously litigated many contracts, and been on many due diligence deals from a litigation and risk perspective, but never drafting. And I was very fortunate that the company and my boss allowed me to do that and encouraged me to do that, to give it a try. So that's where I'm at now. I'm a commercial attorney doing contract drafting and actually SEC work for the company. I had litigated FINRA disputes in my career. Now I actually draft a proxy statement for the company. And I do a wide range from energy contracts to procurement contracts and working on that for the company. So it's very, very different coming up from what I did my entire career to where I am at now. In the, I'll say mid, I'm not going to say latter part of my career, mid part of my career, doing commercial work. And I do love it. And I think my litigation background helps a lot in risk assessment and strategy. So that's where I'm currently at. Very long story to tell you of where I'm actually at currently, of how I got to be a commercial contracting attorney for PSEG versus starting out clerking or being a litigator. So a couple different changes in my career have occurred, but I really like where I'm at right now.
Wow, that's quite the journey you've been on. With all of that, what do you think is the biggest risk you've taken in your career?
I think the biggest risk would be, and I guess I alluded to it in my recount of my career, would be leaving Lowenstein Sandler and going in-house, because that was my goal. That was my 20 to 23-year-old goal in my head when I started law school, which is a lot different than, where you're at in your 30s or 40s. And I think it was hard to say like it wasn't what I wanted anymore to myself. Like it was very hard for me personally to leave that. Obviously, I know you can always go back, right? Like there might be a point in my career where I'm like, oh, I want to go back to private practice. I'd like to try this again. But I think like I had been so set on achieving that goal of like getting into big law, becoming a partner. And I felt like, oh, am I disappointing myself? I also felt like, am I disappointing other people? I, along with Linda Bennett, who was at Lowenstein Sandler, like helped start the women's initiative there. And I was like, oh, am I disappointing these other women? Like, are they, I wanted to be like a good role model and like set the standard. And I had like my first child to show like, you can do this, like it's possible. And I realized like, no, everyone just wants what's best for you. And you know what's best for you. So it was hard for me to, I think, confide that my career goal had shifted. And then I was very afraid of like, oh my God, are they going to fire me? Like, I don't want to be fired, or I want to do something else. But I obviously wanted to leave on my own terms. But I was like very scared for other people to know, which was so silly in retrospect, like so silly to think that, because again, people wanted what was best for me. They wanted me to succeed. And everyone was, happy to see that I was happy, that like I was doing something that I wanted. So, I confided in Linda about wanting to kind of shift career paths and strategize about that. So that was a big risk for me. And it's all like hindsight is 2020 to see like now, like, oh, that wasn't a big deal at all. Like that was totally fine. You were totally fine. But it's hard in the moment, I think, to understand that, like when you're very nervous about how it's all going to land. And then I think obviously the second biggest risk for me was like leaving litigation at this point in my career, like learning something new, like later in your career compared to like earlier, being a younger associate. And of course, again, I understand like I can pivot back. You can switch what you do, but I think switching disciplines was another big career point for me. And also like advocating for myself. And again, like speaking up for myself if this is something I wanted to try, and taking that leap too, and just learning something new. I think most lawyers do crave diversity in what they work on and like constant learning. I think we're all probably this very similar mindset of we like to be challenged. I don't know what's wrong with all of us, but we like to be challenged, I think. So for me, like it keeps me intellectually stimulated to keep working on like new things, and keeps me like interested in what I'm doing and in my career. So those I think would be my two biggest risks for me.
You are the queen of pivoting. We love to hear it.
That's the word of the day, I guess.
When it comes to building out your team, whether that's finding outside counsel or working with more junior attorneys, what's something that you look for?
I think this is a good one, because again, it's one of those things you don't realize in the moment as you are a younger attorney. And I wish people had told me that communication is key, which maybe you've gotten that advice too. But so when I'm looking for outside counsel, and even people I work with, like your coworkers, like I need to know where you're at. Like, give me the status update. Tell me how things are going. Show me the draft, not to micromanage, but just keeping me involved. I don't think there's such thing as, over communicating. I don't need huge paragraphs, but, because writing, when you're in-house, writing is totally different, super succinct. You're not writing like huge memos to your coworker back and forth. But for outside counsel, I very much appreciate that in a younger attorney, as well as meeting deliverables. So don't overpromise, but and don't underdeliver as well. So if you say if I'm your client and you're the outside counsel that you're going to get it to me by Tuesday at 5:00, like please get it to me at Tuesday at 5:00. Like that's what you promise. That's what we're asking for. And again, if you can't, just tell me. But there's a lot of internal communication that I need to do, right? Like it travels up the channel. So it's not just me, it's other people that I'm also speaking with and other teams in the business that I'm speaking with. So it's very important to meet those deadlines. And I think even if you're, at a law firm, like with your peers or your boss, obviously that's important as well. So not taking on too much where you can't deliver. And then I always appreciate like a practical approach, like a strategic approach. And I think even as a younger attorney or outside counsel, right? Because being able to like succinctly deliver yes, no, and why. Again, I don't need a 5-page memo unless I asked for it, but just being able to like succinctly deliver an answer to something, I really appreciate. And in the business, you're constantly evaluating risk. And let us do that. Like, tell me what I need to know so I can weigh the risk on that decision. And I think that's something, younger attorneys can help to like learn and do early in their career instead of, I don't want to say like overthink it, but to be like more strategic in their approach.
So Jessica is a 4th year and I'm a 3rd year associate. What is a piece of advice that you wish you had at our stage of your career?
I would say to find someone, a mentor that you can confide in, or just a coworker or a peer that you trust, that you can talk to about your career aspirations or what's happening on your day to day. And don't be afraid to say what that is. So I guess my advice would be like, don't be so scared. And maybe because I think a lot of what worried me were things that I could have like openly communicated to people and asked for, but didn't. So I think like it's important to just ask and advocate for yourself, but have that go-to person that you can bounce ideas off of, that you trust, that you can confide in, and that who also wants the best for you as well. I think that makes a very big difference for you too. And like even at your job, like that's what keeps you there. Like that's what makes you want to stay, right? Or like the people around you as well, in addition to like the firm and the work, but people who support you and believe in you. So I think I was very guarded earlier in my career, like as a 3rd or 4th year. And in retrospect, you certainly don't have to be.
On a more personal note, where can we find you on an ideal Saturday afternoon?
Well, now life is very different for me. I wish I could say like brunching it in Hoboken or something in my younger days, but I have 2 young sons. So now my ideal Saturday is truly just spending time with my family, like just, being able to log off and spend time with them. So we're probably bouncing right now between sports. But just hanging out and hanging with them and my family would probably be like my ideal lazy Saturday afternoon, even though I have 2 boys. So like that is not, there is no laziness about it. They are very energetic and keep you on your toes. So we're always doing something. But honestly, I like to just, be at home and be with them, spending time with them. I think that's, our most important gift is just having time.
And now the most important question. How do you take your coffee?
Well, I hate to disappoint you both. I don't drink coffee. I am a tea drinker. I am a tea extraordinaire enthusiast. So I'm one of those people. So I take my tea black, although I will drink it English style, like with milk and sugar or with honey, but preferably like I just truly like the taste of tea. I probably drink 2 to 3 cups a day and need to dial it down on that intake. I love the smell of coffee, but I never got into it. So I wish I could, but I am a tea drinker. I'm one of those people who like, you can take me for tea anytime and I can drink it like at any time of day. So I wish I could say like the caffeine would bother me, but I could literally probably have a cup at like 11 p.m. and we're still good. So I like a hot drink.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you both for having me. I greatly appreciate it. And I'm always happy to see like the future of Lowenstein Sandler. So it was great to be here with both of you.
We hope that today's conversation offered you a perspective you can use, whether you're charting your next move, mentoring the next generation, or simply looking for a dose of motivation with your morning brew.
If you enjoyed the episode, please follow the series and share it with a colleague. Until next time, keep investing in your growth and your community, and don't forget to tell us, how do you take your coffee?
Thank you for listening to today's episode. Please subscribe to our podcast series at lowenstein.com/podcasts or find us on iTunes, Spotify, Pandora, or SoundCloud. Lowenstein Sandler podcast series are presented by Lowenstein Sandler and cannot be copied or rebroadcast without consent. The information provided is intended for a general audience. It is not legal advice or substitute for the advice of counsel. Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome. The content reflects the personal views and opinions of the participants. No attorney-client relationship is being created by this podcast, and all rights are reserved.